Hello friends, welcome to my YouTube channel Physics Cafe by Manjeet Kaur. In this video, we study about class 9th physics chapter work, energy and power. In this video, we study about what is work. Concept of work in everyday life. Just think of when you say that somebody is working. In day-to-day life, work is what? An activity that requires muscular or mental effort. That means whenever you put any kind of mental and physical effort in order to achieve particular thing or particular purpose, we say that the person is doing work. First we see how do we define work in day-to-day life. We take some example. In first example, the boy is trying to push the ball. He is trying to help to move the ball, but it is not really moving. But the boy is putting physically effort. So we can say that boy is doing some work. In second example, you study hard for exam. In this case, the girl is doing some mental activity to achieve the purpose. What is the purpose? The purpose is get good marks in exam. And you are doing mental activity. So we can say that working hard. So according to day-to-day life, work is done by girl. Similarly, third example. In this, the man carry grocery bag from the market, but he don't change the position of the bag. That means he not lift up or down the bag. The bag remains in center, so the position of the bag remain unchanged. Thus, the work done on the bag is 0. So the definition of work in everyday life is different from the definition of work in physics, because we are physics students, so it's compulsory for us to know what is work in physics. Work in physics, whenever force is applied to an object causing the object to move, work is being done by the force. That means if we apply force on any object and the object get displaced, so we can say that work is done. Let's take an example. Here we have an object placed at point A. When we apply force on this object, the object get displaced from point A and reached to point B. So we can say that work is done because the object displaced from point A to point B. Now we take one more example. The children are playing with the basketball. The children throw the basketball to one another, so the position of the basketball is continuously changing. So here work is done by the children. Work is represented by W. Work is a scalar quantity. That means we can write work, which is the dot product of force and displacement. We know force and displacement are vector quantities. Vector quantities are those which have magnitude and direction. So work is nothing but it is the dot product of force and displacement. According to dot product properties, the dot product is always scalar quantity. So work is a scalar quantity. The SI unit of work is joule, which is defined as the work expended by a force of 1 Newton through a displacement of 1 meter. The formula of work is F times displacement. Let's take an example. Find out the work done when a force of 20 Newton displaces a body through 8 meters in the direction of the applied force. We have given force which is equals to 20 Newton, displacement is 8 meter. We know work which is equals to force into displacement. So put the values of force and displacement in work. Work is equals to 20 multiplied by 8 Newton meter. So we get work which is equals to 160 joule. Work can be positive, negative or zero. So we first study about its first case, which is positive work. When the force has a component in the direction same to the displacement of the object. That means when the direction of the force and the direction of the displacement of the object both are in same direction, we can say that positive work is done. In this example, the bodybuilder lifts up the weight rods. The direction of the force and displacement of the weight rods both are in upward direction. So we can say that positive work is done by the bodybuilder. In this, we can say force has a component, so theta is the angle between the force and displacement of the object. When theta is less than 90 degree, we can say that work is done and it is positive work. Now its second case, which is negative work, when the force has a component in the direction opposite to the displacement of the object. That means when we apply force on any object and the object gets displaced from its original position and its direction is opposite to the force, so we can say that negative work is done. In this example, the bodybuilder lifts down the weight rods, so the direction of the force is in upward direction and the direction of the weighted rods is in downward direction. So both the directions are in opposite to each other, so the work done by the bodybuilder is negative work. In this, when the angle which is theta between force and displacement is greater than 90 degree, we can say that negative work is done by the object. Now its last case is zero work, when the force has a component in the direction perpendicular to the displacement of the object. That means when the force is in the direction perpendicular in the displacement of the object, means when force make an angle 90 degree with the displacement of the object, we can say zero work is done. Here we have an example. The boy carry books from the library, but it don't change the position of the books. That means he not lift the book up or down, the position of the books remain unchanged, so zero work is done. In this, theta is the angle between force and displacement and theta is 90 degree, so zero work is done. Let's take an example of positive work. How much work is done in lifting a 10 kg box 1.5 meter off the floor? In this diagram, you can see the direction of the force is in upward direction and the displacement of the box is also in upward direction. So positive work is done here. Now to solve this numerical, we take its values. Mass of the box, which is represented as small m, which is equals to 10 kilogram. Box displaced from the floor, which is displacement, is equals to 1.5 meter. The acceleration due to gravity, which is represented as lowercase g, is equals to 9.8 meter per second square. So we know force, which represents as F, is equals to mass times acceleration, which is equals to weight of the object, which is equals to mass times acceleration due to gravity. So put the values of mass and acceleration due to gravity in force. We get force is equals to 10 multiplied by 9.8 kilogram meter per second square. So force is equals to 100 Newton. Now we know work is equals to F times displacement. So put the values of force and displacement of the object. So we get W, which is work, is equals to 100 multiplied by 1.5 Newton meter. So we get positive work, which is equals to 150 joule. Now we take an example of negative work. An ice skater slides to stop by pushing her blades against the ice. The ice exerts a constant force of 95 Newton on the skaters and skater stops in 2 meters. The angle between the force and the skater's direction of motion is 140 degree. So calculate the work done on the skater by the ice. In this diagram, the angle between the force and the skater's direction of motion is 140 degree. So when theta is 140 degree, which is greater than from 90 degree, so we know when angle is, which is theta, is greater than from 90 degree, then negative work is done. So solve this numerical. The ice exerts force on skater, which is force, which is equals to 95 Newton. Skater cover distance, which is displacement, is equals to 2 meter. Angle between them is, which is theta, 140 degree. So work, which is equals to FD cos theta. So put the values of force, displacement and theta in this equation. We get work, which is equals to 95 multiplied by 2 into cos 140 degree. So we get work which equals to minus 125.4 joule. So here we get the negative work done by the
power of an agent is doing work. All machines, trucks, buses, motorcycles, or even our body, all are having certain power because they all are doing work. Here we have some examples. The motorcycle carrying a load and covers a distance, which is displacement. So motorcycle is doing work, so it has a power. In second example, the young man lifts up the dumbbells, but he takes more times as comparable to the young man because at a certain age the capability of doing work is changes. So old man takes more times to lift up the dumbbells. Now from here we have one question arise: who is more powerful between the young man and the old man? if they both have to lift up the dumbbells 5 times, the young man take less time. So young man is more powerful. And the old man takes more times to lift up the dumbbells, so old man is less powerful. So basically, power is both how much work you do and how fast you do it. Power is directly dependent on time. If you take less time, you have more power, and if you take more time, you have less power. Now we have definition of power. Power is defined as the rate of doing work or the rate of transfer of energy. In simple words, in per unit time, work done by the object, or in per unit time, energy consumed by the object. The symbol of power is capital P. Power is equals to work upon time. Any object has high power if he takes less time to complete that work. Similarly, an object has less power if it takes more time to complete that work. So power is directly dependent upon time. If an agent does the work W in time t, then power is given by, which is equals to work upon time. We represent power by P and work by W and time by T. So we know work is the dot product of force and displacement. So here in place of W we write F vector dot S vector upon T. So power is equals to F vector dot S vector upon T. We know velocity is equals to in per unit time we cover the distance. So in place of S upon T we write V. So power is the dot product of force and velocity. When theta is the angle between force and velocity, then we write it as P, which is equals to Fv cos theta. When velocity is along force, then theta becomes 0. So when theta becomes 0, then cos 0 is equals to 1. So we put the value of cos 0, which is 1. Then we get power is equals to F times velocity. Now the SI unit of power is watt, which is noted by capital W. Now from power, which is the ratio between work and time, we write all the quantities in SI unit. The SI unit of power is watt, the SI unit of work is joule, and similarly time is second. So write here 1 watt, which is equals to 1 joule upon 1 second, which is equals to 1 watt is equals to 1 joule per second. So 1 watt's value is 1 joule per second. Hence power of an agent is said to be 1 watt if it can do 1 joule of work in 1 second. हम किसी भी एजेंट की पावर को 1 वाट तब कहेंगे जब उसने 1 सेकंड में 1 जूल का वर्क किया हो. Now we have average power, which is the ratio between total work done upon total time. We use average power if we have to find how much energy consumed in our homes. In our homes, we use different types of electrical equipments. They all are consumed different power because they all are consumed different energy. So we have to find how much total energy used in our home. So we apply this formula, which is equals to total work done upon total time. Now we have some other units of power, which is 1 kilowatt, 1 megawatt, 1 horsepower. They all are used to measure the output of a power plant or the amount of electricity required by an entire city. 1 kilowatt, which is equals to 1000 watt. 1 megawatt, which is equals to 10 raised to power 6 watt, and 1 horsepower, which is equals to 746 watt, which is used in large power plants. Now the commercial unit of energy, which is equals to kilowatt hour. 1 kilowatt hour is the energy consumed by a device whose power is 1 kilowatt operated for 1 hour. So from here we have one question, so you can easily answer this, which is define 1 kilowatt of energy. Now 1 kilowatt hour, which is equals to 3.6 multiplied by 10 raised to power 6 joule. Now we have to prove 1 kilowatt hour, which is equals to 3.6 multiplied by 10 raised to power 6 joule. We know 1 kilowatt hour, which is equals to 1000 watt. Now we put here 1 kilowatt hour's value, which is 1000 watt, and we know 1 watt is equals to joule per second, and we know 1 hour is equals to 3600 second. So we get 1000 joule per second into hour, and by putting the value of 1 hour we get 1000 joule per second into 3600 second. So here we cut second, then we get 1 kilowatt hour, which is equals to 3.6 multiplied by 10 raised to power 6 joule. So here we prove this. Now we have some examples. A lamp consumes 1000 joule of electrical energy in 10 seconds. But is its power? We have given work, which is equals to 1000 joule. Time is equals to 10 seconds. We know power's formula, which is equals to work upon time. Now put the value of work and time in power's formula. We get 1000 upon 10. So here 0 is cancelled. Now we get power, which is equals to 100 watt. So lamp consumes 1000 joule of electrical energy in 10 seconds. So its power is 100 watt. Now we have another example. A certain household has consumed 250 units of energy during a month. How much energy is this in joules? We have given commercial unit of energy, which is equals to 250 unit. We know 1 unit, which is equals to 1 kilowatt hour. Therefore 250 unit will become 250 kilowatt hour. We know this formula, 1 kilowatt hour, which is equals to 3.6 multiplied by 10 raised to power 6 joule.
So 250 unit will become 250 into 3.6 multiplied by 10 raised to power 6 joule. So energy in joule, which is equals to 9 multiplied by 10 raised to power 8 joule. So a certain household has consumed 250 unit of energy. So in terms of joule, it consumed 9 multiplied by 10 raised to power 8 joule. Now we have another example. An electrical heater is rated 1500 watt. How much energy does it uses in 10 hours? Here we have given power, which is equals to 1500 watt. Here we convert 1 watt into kilowatt, so we write it as 1.5 kilowatt. Time, which is equals to 10 hour. We know power, which is the ratio between work and time, and we know energy consumed by the object and work done by the object both are equal. So from here we write power is the ratio between energy and time. So from here we find the value of energy, which is equals to power into time taken. So put the value of power and time in this formula. We get 1.5 into 10, which is equals to 15 kilowatt hour. So energy required, which is equals to 15 kilowatt hour. Now we have another example. Find the energy. Find the energy in kilowatt hour consumed in 10 hours by 4 devices of power 500 watt each. We have given power, which is equals to 500 watt, and in kilowatt we write it as 0.5 kilowatt. Time, which is equals to 10 hours. Devices used, which is equals to 4. So energy consumed in kilowatt hour, which is equals to P into T into device, which is power into time into device. So put the values of power, time and device which are used, which is equals to 0.5 kilowatt multiplied by 10 hours multiplied by 4, which is equals to 20 kilowatt hour. So energy consumed by 4 devices in 10 hours, which is equals to 20 kilowatt hour. Now we have one more example. An electrical heater of 1000 watt is used for 2 hours in a day. What is the cost of using it for a month of 28 days if 1 unit costs 3 rupees? We have given power, which is equals to 1000 watt. In terms of kilowatt we write it as 1 kilowatt. Time per day, which is equals to 2 hours. So total time, which is equals to 2 into 28 days, so it will become 56 hours. From power's formula we find the value of energy, which is equals to P into time. So put the value of power and total time of electrical heater in energy's formula. So E will become 1 into 56, which is equals to 56 kilowatt hour. So the cost of 1 kilowatt hour is 3 rupees. Then the cost of 56 kilowatt will become 3 into 56, which is equals to 168 rupees. So these are the some numericals of and zero work. Work is nothing but it is the dot product of force and displacement. So in today's video we study about energy because work and energy are correlated to with each other. Energy is essential to life and living organisms. The sun, directly or indirectly, is the source of all the energy available on the earth. In simple words, energy is the ability to do work. Energy is how things change and move. Energy is everywhere around us. Now, the question is, how is energy used? We have some examples of energy in everyday life. First is the lady cooks the food. So, this is the example of residential energy's use. The next is the employees work in office where different types of electronic equipments are used in office. So this is the example of commercial use of energy. The next is the boy drives the car. So this is the example of transportation use of energy. The next is the employees work in industry where they manufacture different types of products. So this is the example of industrial use of energy. So energy is everywhere around us and we use in day-to-day life. Now the definition of energy is, it is defined as the ability to do work. The object can lose or gain energy depending upon the work done. In simple words, the capacity of doing work is known as energy. If an object does some work, it loses energy, and if some work is done on an object, it gains energy. To clear this, we have an example. In this example, the boy moves the cart. The work is done by the boy, so he loses some energy, and some work is done on this cart, so the cart gains energy. Energy is a scalar quantity, that means which gives us only magnitude. The SI unit of energy is joule and its bigger unit is kilojoule. 1 kilojoule, which is equals to 1000 joule. If we have a question, define 1 joule energy. So we write it as the energy required to do 1 joule of work is called 1 joule energy. Now we have different forms of energy which we use in day-to-day life. The first and most important is mechanical energy. It is the energy obtained by an object due to its motion or its position. That means anything that is moving has energy. That energy is kinetic energy. And if an object is placed at a certain height and is at rest, so energy is stored in it. That energy is potential energy. So mechanical energy is the sum of potential energy plus kinetic energy. In this diagram, the hammer is placed at a certain height from the ground. So energy stored in it, which is potential energy. In the next, the hammer comes into motion. So higher the speed of motion, higher its kinetic energy. In third, when the hammer drives the nail into the wood, it has energy. That energy is mechanical energy. Next is heat energy. It is the energy obtained by an object due to its temperature. When we burn coal, wood, gas, heat, energy is released. That energy is heat energy. The examples of heat energy is hot cup of tea and fire. The next is electrical energy. It is the energy caused due to motion, that means motion of electrons. The examples of electrical energy are lightning and electricity. The next is light energy. It is the energy which travels in waves and can be seen. Light energy is also called radiant energy. The examples of light energy are bulb and sun. The earth gets loads of energy from the sun. The light energy can be sensed by human eyes. The next is sound energy. It is the energy which travels in waves and can hear vibrates. The sound energy can be sensed by human ears. The examples of sound energy are playing guitar and the sound of clapping. Now we have definition of potential energy. Every object possesses some energy is called potential energy. That means it is the energy that is stored in the object which is at a certain height from the ground. An object when gain energy may store in itself as potential energy. The example of potential energy is books sitting on shelf. Shelf is at a certain height from the ground. So energy is stored in the books, which is potential energy. The next example is the man, before he released the arrow from the bow, he pulled back the bow, because more the bow is pulled back, the greater the potential energy. The formula of potential energy is m into g into h. Here m is the mass of the object, g is the acceleration due to gravity, and h is the height from the ground level. So the formula of potential energy is m into g into h. Now we have numerical of potential energy. Find the energy possessed by an object of mass 10 kg when it is at a height of 60 meter above the ground. Given g is equals to 9.8 meter per second square. Here mass of object, which is small m, is equals to 10 kg, height which is equals to 60 meter, acceleration due to gravity which is equals to 9.8 meter per second square. In this diagram, we know when an object rises above the ground, some work is done against the gravity. So the ball is placed higher from the ground. So some work is done against the gravity. Since work is done on the object which is ball gain some energy. The higher the ball, greater its potential energy. So we know the formula of potential energy, which is equals to mgh. So put the values of mass of object, height and acceleration due to gravity in the potential energies formula. We get EP, which equals to 10 kg multiplied by 9.8 meter per second square multiplied by 60 meter. So EP is equals to 5880 joule. So the potential energy of the object is 5880 joule. Now we have kinetic energy. Every moving object possesses some energy is called kinetic energy. That means every moving object which has energy, that is kinetic energy. As the speed of the object increases, so its kinetic energy is also increases. Here we have some examples of kinetic energy. In first, the man driving a car. So due to its fast velocity, the kinetic energy of this car is also high. In second example, an aeroplane has a large amount of kinetic energy in flight due to its large mass and fast velocity. And third is the man released the arrow from the bow, flying through the air. The speed of the arrow is higher, so kinetic energy is also higher. The formula of kinetic energy is half into m into v square. Here m is the mass of the object, v is the velocity of the object. So kinetic energy basically depends upon mass and velocity of the object. Now we have the derivation of kinetic energy's formula. Consider an object which has mass m, initial velocity u, displacement is equals to s, final velocity v, uniform acceleration is a. So we know second equation of motion, which is equals to v square minus u square is equals to 2as. So from this equation we get the value of s, which is equals to v square minus u square upon 2a, which is our equation number 1. We know force is the product of mass into acceleration, which is our equation number 2. We know work done W, which is equals to F into S. So from equation 1 and 2 we get W, which is equals to mass into acceleration into v square minus u square upon 2a. So W, which is equals to half into mv square minus mu square. Initially when object is at rest, so its initial velocity is equals to 0. So put the value of initial velocity in this equation, we get W, which is equals to half mv square. So it is clear that work done is equal to the change in kinetic energy of an object. So kinetic energy is equals to half into m into v square. Now we have examples of kinetic energy. An object of mass 15 kg is moving with the uniform velocity of 4 meter per second. What is the kinetic energy possessed by the object? Here we have solution. We have given mass of object which is equals to 15 kg, velocity of the object which is equals to 4 meter per second. We know kinetic energy which is equals to half mv square. So put the value of mass of object and velocity of the object in this formula. So Ek, which is equals to half into 15 kg multiplied by 4 meter per second into 4 meter per second. So Ek, which is equals to 120 joule. So the kinetic energy of the object is 120 joule. Now we have law of conservation of energy. It states that energy can neither be created nor be destroyed, but can be transformed from one form to another. That means we can't create. हम एनर्जी को ना ही क्रिएट कर सकते हैं ना ही डिस्ट्रॉय कर सकते हैं, बस एक फॉर्म से दूसरी फॉर्म में कन्वर्ट कर सकते हैं, ट्रांसफॉर्म कर सकते हैं. Total energy, which is equals to potential energy plus kinetic energy. Here we have example. The man has a stone in his hand. When the stone is at a certain height from the ground level, it has energy stored in it. Some work is done against the gravity. When work is done on the object gains some energy. So higher the stone from the ground level, so it has higher the potential energy. So potential energy, which is equals to m into g into h. Here m is the mass of the object, g is the acceleration due to gravity, and h is the height from the ground level. When man throw the stone in center, its kinetic energy and potential energy both are same. And when the stone touch the ground level, here its potential energy convert to kinetic energy, because the stone travels some distance, so it has velocity. So kinetic energy, which is equals to half mv square. M is the mass of the stone and v is the velocity of the stone. So by conservation of energy before transformation and after transformation, energy remains constant. That means potential energy plus kinetic energy equals to constant. So mgh plus half mv square is equals to total energy. So we can't create or destroy energy, we can only transform from one form to another. So in this, the potential energy convert to kinetic energy. So thank you for watching my video. Like my video and subscribe my channel.